Hi, this is Daniel Torres here at the FMCG guys doing another live interview from the Retail Media Summit UK organized by SMG. Now I'm fortunate enough to be sitting down with Rosie Houston from Threefold, right?
Yeah.
Threefold SMG.
Yeah.
Maybe actually would be good to understand what's the difference between Threefold and SMG.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a really good question. So SMG is our kind of parent company, shopper media group, and within that we've got three parts of the business. So we've got Threefold, which is the part that I look after, and that's where we work with our retailers to build and operate their retail media centres.
Okay.
So we partner really closely with them. Capture is another side of our business, and they are the kind of flip side of Threefold. So Capture work with lots of FMCG brands and plan and execute their cross-retail media activations.
Okay.
And then the final kind of really important part of SMG is Plan Apps. So Plan Apps is our kind of proprietary software, which was built for running a retail media centre, so very specifically kind of custom made for that. And what Plan Apps does, and probably what it's most known for, is its evaluations capability. So all of the campaigns, all of the activity that we run through both Threefold and Capture it is evaluated and sits within Plan Apps. And our brands and retailers can go into Plan Apps and see that. But there are lots of other applications in there as well, you know, from things like enabling the team and the brands to plan within that platform, even things like Allocator, which helps us make sure we're sending the campaign materials to the right stores, whether that's making sure it's stocked in the store or making sure it's the right customer group. So it really is the kind of brain of SMG.
Ah, cool. And then I guess that there's like points where you work with each of the business units on different topics, no?
Yeah, exactly. And actually, from a Threefold side, Capture is really helpful for us, because what Capture does is our kind of colleagues at Capture really help us to understand what brands are looking for, what's important to them now, so that we can kind of get on the front foot with our retail media offerings. It's really, really helpful to see it from both perspectives.
Oh, very interesting. And what do you do specifically at Threefold?
Threefold, yeah. So I'm the managing director for Threefold. So what that means today is I look after all of our retail partnerships. So today we've got Boots, Co-op, the Very Group, Signa, and we've also got Morrison's as well. And most of my career was actually in Boots. So
I'll ask you about that. Actually.
So I spent a long time in Boots, but kind of quite a portion of that time building the retail media offering before kind of embarking on the partnership with Threefold to kind of really accelerate it. But now I look after kind of and oversee all of our partnerships.
Yeah. And what's been a bit... I'm a headhunter by trade. That's my day job is being a headhunter, actually. So I'm curious to know what's your career been like to get to this point, because I know that you've worked at Boots for quite a long time, right? Before Threefold?
Yeah, exactly. So most of my career has been in retail. So I spent a couple of years with Superdrug. I then spent 13 years with Boots. And for about half of that career, well, for about a decade actually, I was in buying and trading, which honestly was a discipline I really loved. I really enjoyed buying, but there came a point when I was like, I've kind of pretty much bought now for every single category. So I don't know what more I can really add. And at that point, and I was within Boots at this time, I decided to move over to what was at the time called the partnership marketing function.
It wasn't called retail media.
It wasn't called retail media, and it was a really interesting function because it was in its infancy, really. It was only a couple of years in, and it had really started with the intention of how do we work with our brands using ad card data. Because actually, if we can build campaigns informed by ad card data, they are going to be better campaigns. So it started off as kind of with just a few brands, a few kind of partners doing deep dive campaigns, and I then worked in that kind of area of the business for 7 years, and it grew and it evolved and it expanded. And it's funny because as ever with these moves, I kind of moved into partnership marketing thinking I'll just do a couple of years here, expand my kind of skills, and then I'll go back into trading, into
a bigger P&L role.
Exactly.
Like that, no?
And there's never been a good time to leave it because it has evolved so fast. It's been so exciting that it's become an area that I really love and I'm really passionate about.
And you're not going to leave it now, right?
Of course.
Now that you're like really surfing the wave.
Of course. Now is not the time to leave.
I was just speaking with Sam Knights from SMG about we spoke. It's crazy. We spoke like in May or June. And just between then and now, which have been 4 or 5 months, there's been just a lot happening already in this space. How are you seeing it? If you look maybe 1 year ago until now, how have you seen this retail media or partnership marketing, as it used to be named?
Marketing, yeah.
How have you seen it evolve?
I think capabilities around first-party data are really coming on in leaps and bounds, and I think even just in the last 12 to 18 months, we've seen more and more retailers kind of open their eyes to the power of that.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of capabilities still need to be built out. My observation is that all of our retailers are at really different stages of the maturity curve. So we've got some who are just kind of grappling with the initial stages of it, but trying to build kind of first-party data engines. But we've got other partners who are kind of looking at how do we offer self-serve options, how do we kind of build agency relationships.
One question.
Yeah.
First-party data for dummies. What does it mean exactly?
What does it mean? So it's the retailer's customer shopping behaviour, okay? So audience data in particular. Yeah. So this kind of, for years, and in Boots, for years we used to say, we've got this amazing data. We have this amazing customer data. We know so much about our customers and their lives. Yeah. And of course, Boots operates not just in kind of, retail healthcare, but you've got broader healthcare, you've got opticians, you've got, it's a really kind of broad offering. But it was almost unhelpful to brands, and if anything, probably a bit annoying, because they were like, we know you have. How can we use it? Yeah. And the reality was that the technology wasn't there for us to be able to enable brands to leverage it in a way that was kind of compliant and fair on our customers, etc. And it's been the kind of the evolution of technology that has meant that actually now they can use it in a way that is, compliant, that is fair to our customers, that won't ruin trust. So that's what I mean by first-party data.
Got it. Yeah. And that's really that's the space that you've seen evolve the most in the last year.
Absolutely. There's a real kind of race to build that capability. But what I think's kind of, coming over the horizon, which I'm also really excited about, is in-store and digitisation of in-store, because I think at times retail media, but particularly kind of in the press, has almost become synonymous with digital media, and it's not. It's not. It's retail media is the
word is retail media, which retail, if you think about it, is a physical store,
Exactly.
Right?
And I think about a lot of our partners, at least 70% of their sales are still coming through in store. And so we can't do this brilliant job online, and then you get to store and it doesn't
and it's
match.
irrelevant.
So there's definitely a big and exciting piece of work, I think, to be doing on the in-store estates.
Yeah. What Sam was also saying, that it feels like in terms of digital, the US is like 12, 18 months ahead of us. But in terms of in-store, Europe is, or at least the UK, is ahead of the US.
Yeah, 100%. And we work really closely with Walgreens Advertising Group, and it's been a really helpful partnership.
Of course, because they're in the same group as Boots, right?
So. Exactly, and what's been really interesting is they are much further ahead in terms of first-party data and on off-site and digital marketing, but we're further ahead now in store execution and kind of, even our kind of loyalty programs, etc. And so what we've been able to learn from each other, and you've got to be careful because those markets are so different. Right?
Yeah.
And they just aren't as regulated as well, which makes it a bit easier for them to scale. But we can learn so much from each other and help each other kind of not make some of the mistakes that we each might have made. Because, so that's been great.
And if you look back, like in the last year or 2 years with Boots specifically, what are like the projects or features in terms of retail media that you feel the most proud of?
I mean, so much stuff. I'm so kind of pleased with the way that it's evolved. Honestly, it's kind of it's surpassed my expectations. I think in terms of loads of capability stuff that's evolved, and that's really great. But what I think I'm really pleased about is the kind of the fundamental shift in perception of partnership marketing or retail media, because historically, certainly when I first started, it was seen as, honestly, it's just a profit line for the business. That's what it is. It's a tax, it's a cost of doing business, pay to play, blah, blah, blah. And it's not seen like that anymore. Of course, it's an investment stream for the business, but there is a real kind of understanding across the whole of Boots that this is so much more than that. That actually this is driving sales to Boots. This is bolstering our own marketing campaigns. And I feel like there's now a genuine interaction between Boots and the brands where we're aiming to kind of really grow. So it's become so much kind of more, and that's the bit I'm really proud of, because that's what I always wanted it to be. Not just a profit line.
And it makes the conversations ultimately with the brands also more strategic and more partnership driven and so on.
Exactly.
No?
I feel like there's so much more trust there now. And we rely on our partners as well to help us shape the proposition. And we've worked closely with some of our big kind of partners to ask their advice. How can this way we get them to do trials with us, and it feels very different to how it was 7 years ago.
Is there, like, do you think, a USP of Boots' retail media network for brands compared to competitors?
Yeah, I think there is, and I think a lot of it is all around the actual Boots brand. When we were setting up Boots Media Group, we spent a lot of time with brands interviewing them to understand what is, is there something more that you want here? And one of the big pieces we got back from brands was they want to work with Boots. They want to almost borrow the credibility and trust from Boots in their marketing campaigns. And one of the things that we've found that's been most successful is how we've been able to align some of the big Boots campaigns, like the Christmas campaigns, the big healthcare campaigns. Brands want to be part of that because they want to borrow some of that equity as well. And so I think that, along with Boots has got obviously very, very rich first party data as well. So I think they're the kind of things. It's that brand equity and the first party data.
Is there any type of capability or know-how in terms of retail media where you think brands are adding value, or you're learning from brands in the retail side? I
mean, I think we learn a lot from brands. My view is that they are a partner in the development of our retail media centres. There used to be a lot of dialogue of retailer XYZ can do this, retailer X or you can't. And I would invite that dialogue, because I need to understand what it is that you want and whether we can do it, whether we can't. So I think we learn a lot in that way in terms of them helping us shape the future.
No, because, for example, when it comes to branding, for example, FMCG companies, blue chips, it's probably the best school of branding in the industry, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to know if there's learnings there for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are.
And what do you feel excited about when you think of 2024 already?
Oh God, I was literally just thinking, where are we now?
I know, it's complicated sometimes.
Yeah.
When you think of the beginning of 2025, where do you think we'll be?
The total industry.
Retail media.
Retail media. I think that there'll be more retail media centres than there are versus today. I think lots of other retailers will get involved. But I think in 2025, some of them may have kind of whittled off. I think that those that can offer the best capability that is data driven will still be around. And I think I expect that the capability advancements will continue. I think that there will be greater levels of standardisation. I think that's really kind of a hot topic in the press right now, and I think there'll be some good efforts made towards that. And I think there's likely to be kind of a bigger interaction between retail media centres and agencies as well. That's a dynamic that I think we're seeing coming out, but I think there's a lot of work to do to understand how that can work in reality.
I think that agencies, they're also building up a lot of capabilities there, because they have to catch up with where the industry is going. And I don't know what time it is, it's probably around 9 o'clock in the morning, so we can't arrive to any conclusions of this event yet. Apart from all the noise that we hear, which is a good sign already. I know that you had a lot of people sign up. What do you expect from the event?
I'm hoping we get a lot of collaboration. We've got lots of different retailers here, all at different parts of the journey. And I am a big believer in kind of not being secretive, actually being really collaborative with each other, because there's so many learnings we can take from each other. So I think that's the bit that I'm really looking forward to today. And I'm also looking forward to the section particularly around standardisation, because I think it's a really complex topic, really complex. So I'm looking forward to hearing Bianca's take on that. Okay, great. Well, we'll see what the day has to offer us. And Sam was already hinting to another edition next year already. Was he? All right. So, he said there'll be a link on the show notes that brilliant. If anyone wants to show interest, and they can sign up. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed. Yes.